So good morning, everyone. I'm going to continue to echo what my three colleagues have been talking about here. And so I just want to tell you a quick little bit about Family Services. Family Services is an organization that's been grounded in the community for 66 years. Underneath Family Services, we have over 20 programs. And those programs are broken out into three major divisions. The first division would be considered behavioral health. And underneath behavioral health, we have mental health and drug and alcohol services. Our second division is community-based, and those community-based programs wrap around families, parenting, and our contact and information line. And then our third division is our housing division. And underneath our housing is our housing line and also the Bucks County Emergency Homeless Shelter. Okay, so when I was asked to talk, I was really trying to think about, when we had the conversation, what would be the best focus. And from Family Services, it's really about housing and the impact from caregivers with poverty and affordable housing, especially in this county. So just some statistics I thought might be helpful. So there's over 10 million women aged 55 and older in the US. One study shows the real focus we've been talking about is women and caregivers, and there's a conflict with that role. And with that conflict causes an impact, and I'm echoing again what all of my colleagues have said here. It impacts a lot with regards to employment. 33% of women have decreased their working hours due to caregiving. 29% passed up a promotion or a training or an assignment because of their caregiving responsibilities. 22% took a leave. 20% switched from full-time down to part-time. 16% quit, and 13% retired. So there's some interesting statistics with regards to the impact on caregiving and how that impacts women financially and also their roles in employment. So there's four main key reasons that pose financial challenge for women. The loss of income and career opportunities, the cuts to paid work hours, and then because they have to meet their caregiving responsibilities, as we talked about, their hours decrease and their financials obviously decrease. Also, it reduces their Social Security and other retirement benefits because of the fewer hours of working. There's significant out-of-pocket expenses that we haven't really talked about when you're taking care of a loved one and you're the primary caregiver. And then the key that I really want to talk about is really the impact on what we call ADLs, IADLs, and housing. So most of you know what an ADL is. So it's an activity of daily living. It is regarding eating, bathing, getting dressed, and toiletry. An IADL is really a more complex task, paying a bill. Self-care tasks with regards to wellness, healthy eating, managing finances. And so when you're caring for a loved one, those are the things that impact a woman. And so we don't always think about those things, but there are the things that come into play when a woman is taking care of a loved one. And so I thought it would be helpful if I told you a little bit about a story and we're going to show a quick video. So I'm trying to keep within my 10-minute time frame. But Eileen is a woman who presented at our shelter. And Eileen, for all intents and purposes, her and her husband and her two kids were an American family. They both worked. They had double income coming in, and Eileen's husband was diagnosed with brain cancer. And she struggled for 3 years, taking care of him. He lost his job. She had to change her hours at work. The children were having challenges at school. And in school, they were having difficulty with the father and the caregiving issues, and so they were being bullied at school. She pulled them out of school, she homeschooled them, And I'd like to show you her video so you can have an understanding of the impact regarding caregiving and all of the challenges that a woman faces.
Everybody say a prayer now.
Yeah.
I have been homeless on and off again for 2 years. I was widowed 3 years ago. Held on as long as I could till last April. I couldn't pay the bills anymore, and we kind of went from hotel to hotel at that point.
I don't know, we were going many places.
I ran out of funds. We lost the hotel room on a Friday, and I called because I had been on the list prior to being in here, and I called and they said, yeah, we can get you in today. And they came and actually picked us up from the hotel and brought us here.
The shelter is where you go when you don't have any place to go, or you're stranded, or you're lost.
It was different. It was not what I expected. I guess I kind of expected it to be like you have to be out at 8 in the morning and you have to get back in line and hope you get a cot at night. But we're actually residents here, and when you have children, that's a burden lifted off your shoulders that you can't even imagine.
I feel like this is a good place, and that I get 3 meals a day, I get everything I need, and that it's just way better than living in the woods or something.
The level of caring really surprised me. And it was such a good feeling. It really was, to know that people were here that cared and wanted to help. If I need assistance applying for programs, they're there. If I feel like all of this is overwhelming, and there are days I do, if I said to Sue, please, I need an appointment, with FSA counseling, they would do it. Getting a job, discussing with my children if they want to continue homeschooling, and that, I guess, is going to depend on the school district I end up in. Basically, providing the most stable home I can for my kids. They haven't had one in a very long time. People don't understand fully what it is to be homeless until you are. I never did. If this facility were to lose whatever funding it gets, and it had to close its doors, it's not just me that would be affected. There's so many other people, and when I leave here that fast, my spot here will be filled by somebody else who needs it. It's not easy. This is not an ideal place to live. It is not an ideal way to raise your kids. But I look at it as a stop-off point to things getting better.
from an advocacy standpoint, I'm going to echo with regards to employment. It's not just about raising the minimum wage. It's also about funding, and that ties in. Because for all of us in this community who are leading these organizations, the funding levels in some areas have not changed since 1970. Can you imagine living on what you made from 1970? As leaders of an organization, we are struggling with funding, being asked to do more, increasing the level and the quality of services, and pushing our staff on the same dollar amounts we've had from back then. So when we talk about advocacy comes in so many different arenas. It's not just raising the salaries, it's talking about funding, and funding in different arenas. You saw there what it costs for us to run this shelter. And again, we're not a typical shelter, so the costs are higher. But that increases our success rate for someone to find affordable housing and stay in that affordable housing. So there's many areas for advocacy. My time is up. But I would be remiss in not asking Muriel to stand up, because she runs and oversees our homeless shelter. And staff do a phenomenal job. So thank you every day. It is not easy, and I just want to say thank you to you and your staff.
Thank you.
That's great.